this video today, I want to talk about the idea of place value. Where a digit is in a number determines whether or not that 5 represents 5 ones, or whether it represents 50, or 500, or 5,000. Where you place that 5 makes a difference. All right. Most of us are pretty good with place value as long as the numbers don't get too large or too small. But I want you to be comfortable with place value up until about 1 trillion, definitely for up to 1 billion. One of the things that it may help you just before we even start to just sort of memorize and know is that 1,000 has 3 zeros. And it equals, if we wrote it in terms of powers of 10, it's 10 to the third, which simply means 10 times 10 times 10. Okay, that's 1,000. We're probably all comfortable with that. 1 million which is written with 6 zeros. That's 6 zeros, or 10 to the 6. If you wrote it out, it would be 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. If you multiply 10 by itself 6 times, you get 1 million. 1 billion? There's the 1. This time we have to have 9 zeros. I'm not going to write 10 by itself 9 times. That's too long. But it can be written as 10 to the 9th power. 1 trillion is a 1 with 12 zeros. Or 10 to the 12. It's worth just knowing that. That will help you understand place value. Now, let's write a number. Let's just start with the number 1. It's in, if the decimal point is here, it's in the ones place. That first place to the left of the decimal is in the ones place. We write that, if we were to write it as a power of 10, it would be 10 to the 0. Notice that when we write the number 1, we don't have to have any zeros. Now, if we go 1 place over, we're up to 10. That would be our decimal right here. We're now in the tens place. 10 is written as 10 to the first power. If we go 1 over again, now we're in the hundreds place. That's written as 10 to the second. 1,000. That's in the thousands place, or 10 to the third. Again, we're looking at where it is in the number. 10,000. So we go, that's 10 thousands. That has 4 zeros, 10 to the 4th. And then we go up to 100,000. or 10 to the 5th. And now all of a sudden we've got that next comma. We're going to be at 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is at the million spot. That is a million, or 10 to the 6. Now that we're in the millions part, we go, this is 1 million, and we just keep moving over. This would be 10 million. This would be 100 million. So 10 million, 10 to the 7th, 100 million, 10 to the 8th. We can keep right on going. We can have, this would be, if you think about it, 1,000 billion. Well, 1,000 million is not called 1,000 million. We've moved from the millions place up to a billion. But it is, if you can see, if this is where the millions start, that's 1,000 million. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can see we're at 10 to the 9th power. That's a billion. And then we do it again. We can have 10 billion, so 10, and then the 9 more zeros. We can have 100 billion, 100, and then the 9 more zeros. And that's 10 to the 11th. And finally, we went to 1,000 billion. We don't call it 1,000 billion. We have made it to a trillion, which is 10 to the 12th. So that shows us place value for numbers that are larger than 0. If I wrote a number, oops, wrong way. Let's just make up a pretty big number and practice. There's our decimal. Well, notice, if all I had was these 2 digits, that'd be 92. Notice there's a 5 in the thousands place. There's a 6 in the 10,000s place, so that's 65,000. But there's a 4 in the 100,000s place. So that's 465. We just read that 1,000, but we're really way over here. This is where the millions place is. We would read that 523 million, 465,000. There's the thousands. $92. We don't have an and. We don't have an and unless we have something after the decimal point. The decimal point is where you would read the word and. So 523,465,092. It's a big number. We can read bigger numbers. Let's not make it quite so complicated. Well, there's the thousands place. There's the millions place. This is all the way to the billions. This is 2,700,000,000. You could also write it, since it's 2 billion, as 2.7 billion. Let's practice another number. Well, let's see. There's the thousands. Here's the millions. This is 12,500,000. Or, since it's 12 million, we could write it as 12.5 million. That 5 there, that's the same as a 500,000 if you think about it. All right, so hopefully that makes you a little more comfortable with place value. Let's look at place values for numbers that are less than 0. What if instead of multiplying by 10 each time and making the number larger by a factor of 10, what if we started with the ones place? That's the ones. That's 10 to the 0. And instead of multiplying by 10, we divide by 10. If I divide by 10, I get 0.1. That is 1/10. Notice we put the TH for the decimals. That is 10 to the negative 1, which means 1 divided by 10, or 1/10. We're not multiplying now. If I divide by 10 again, I would get 0.01. That is 1/100th. That would be 10 to the negative 2, or 1/10 squared, which is 1/100, 1/100th. We can keep going. It follows the exact same order. After the hundredths, we have, whoops, I made an error. Let me erase real quick. I left out a 0. 001, that is the thousandth, or 10 to the negative 3. We can keep going. I don't think you're going to need to be as familiar with really small numbers. If this is the thousandths place, then this is the 10,000ths. And then after 10,000, think what we normally would get. We'd go one more. That's the 100,000th. We'll go one more. We'll go. That is the millionth. 100,000th was 10 to the negative 5. Millionth is 10 to the negative 6. Remember, 1,000 is 10 to the third. 1,000th is 10 to the negative 3. A million is 10 to the 6. A millionth is 10 to the negative 6. A billionth is 10 to the negative 9. And a trillionth is 10 to the negative 12. That's just a little short video that hopefully makes you feel a little more comfortable with place value. Tell you what, we'll do one more. Let's do 2,340,000 decimal point. Okay, let's see if we can read this. Notice this is in the millions. We would read this 2 million. These are in the thousands. 340,000. We don't have to read anything for all these zeros. The decimal point is the and this looks like the number 12. That is 12, okay, that's the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. That's in the thousandths place, and 12 thousandths. 2,340,000 and 12 thousandths. All right then. Hopefully this will help you if you're a little confused about place value. Once you learn the pattern, it's really pretty straightforward.